Why would a Gen Z, as smart as you are, you don't know when Facebook was launched?
Knowing when Facebook was launched, how does that affect or change your life experience? Hey guys, welcome to another spectacular episode of Paul's Hot Takes. On today's episode, it is a generational debate, quite literally. It's the Millennials versus the Gen Zs. They're often lifestyle choices and behavioral traits that are often likened to either of these two generations. And on today's episode, we're discussing that amongst other things. My name is Elvis Christian, and I have with me beautiful people in the studio, Gen Zs and Millennials, to talk this talk with me. So how are you doing?
Okay.
So are you, because people may not know, I don't want to, because they say don't assume a woman's age or choir. So are you Gen Z or are you millennial?
Millennial.
We can tell, right?
No, you cannot. No, you cannot.
By the way, she's a resident era star. Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Okay. If you're on our page, you know what I mean. So introduce yourself.
Oh, my name is Cheryl. I'm a lifestyle creator. And of course, I'm Gen Z.
Period. Introduce yourself plus what you do.
Tell me while
Same.
I'm going to add the senior lifestyle reporter.
Okay. You know, one thing with millennials are so obsessed with
Title.
adding deputy vice chairman.
I'm also a lawyer, so you shouldn't add barrister.
Esquire.
Tell me while Esquire to it.
Hey, yeah. All right, let's have
My name is Nuruddin Shotayo, senior reporter,
senior millennial as well.
of course.
And my name is Elvis Christian, senior presenter. Yeah. Since we're all seniors now. All right, so let's jump right into the topic. What do you think are the major differences between, just generally, before we go into subcategories, do you think the differences between Gen Zs and millennials? What do we think? Millennials first. Let's be respectful. So the Eggons in
I
the
think
studio.
the first thing says that you guys are not respectful. So you're just pretending right now.
Yeah,
I'm very
I was going to say,
respectful.
like, be respectful is not a word that is usually attributed to millennials. But hey,
To millennials.
Millennials.
sorry,
Gen Z.
to Gen Z, sorry. Yeah.
So
Okay.
you almost got yourself in a lie. So I feel like the major difference is first age.
Fair.
Right? Because millennials 1981 to 96, then Gen Z is 97 to 2012. So age is a major difference. And I feel another difference between millennials and Gen Zs is just, like I said earlier on in the intro, lifestyle choices and the way we see the world and the way you guys see the world, two different things. I feel millennials are inside looking out. Gen Zs are outside looking further.
Nice. I like that. I like the way you phrase that.
Yeah.
You just said a bunch of words that didn't make any sense.
That's why you're
Inside the outside
a
looking
lifestyle reporter and a lawyer type. Let me explain. If there's a building, a millennial is inside of the building looking out. Gen Zs, the way we see the world, the way I see the world, and you agree, right? So there's a consensus. Gen Zs are often outside. We don't see, we've torn the barriers and we're outside looking at further barriers to tear down.
So are you saying that you guys are outside the box?
Yes.
Yes. I don't really think so.
So you think we're in the box?
Definitely in the box.
How
So explain.
Because there is nothing you guys have done or are doing that has not been done. For the whole Y2K fashion, you guys just took it from the 90s.
Yeah,
and
we made it better.
Which make it better. You guys
better.
just took it from the 90s and you extract it yourself. And when it comes to people who have actually pushed
Boundaries.
the boundaries, they are millennials. In fashion, in tech, in every aspect. You guys
In
haven't-
tech.
These guys, Mark Zuckerberg's a millennial now.
And who uses Facebook?
Who uses Facebook?
Do you?
Everybody uses Facebook.
Everybody uses Facebook. I don't know.
Do you use Facebook?
Wait.
Do you know Facebook is still the most popular website?
Yeah, because there are
there's-
many more millennials
because
than there
there's
are.
Facebook market, so there's so many things that make Facebook really good. So if you use Snapchat, even the person that has Snapchat, I think the person is a Gen Z person. I think it's under 30, but I'm not sure. But you guys use Snapchat the most, right?
Well, we don't have data to back it up, but
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we can't really get.
Let's give
Most
it to
Gen Z
them.
people use Snapchat the most.
I'll say most of my friends who are in the same age group were more on Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok,
Yeah.
more
TikTok,
than
then
places that really sort of test your creativity, sort of.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me ask
So
you a question at this point. What's the social media platform that you think the generation after Gen Zs are gravitating to?
the Gen Alpha.
Yeah.
I think it's YouTube,
YouTube.
TikTok.
Yeah.
YouTube
Oh,
still.
Baby Shark was just playing just now.
So why
Just
is it like that though?
I feel like I really do not want to even talk social media pages really, because when I was a lot younger, my mom says I was like an iPad kid. And because I can't create, I consume. And the best place you can actually control what your child consumes is most times YouTube.
Fair.
Yeah.
So I feel like, as you grow older, you would gravitate towards other social media
So I
platforms.
was driving at something. So
Okay.
you talked about millennials, being the highest users on Facebook, right? So I mean, Facebook came out, was launched in 2006, if I'm correct.
I would.
Yeah, you wouldn't know. I know. I was just trying to set you up.
Like, what's my vision?
And that's another thing that is so common with a generation, because you don't know things, but you assume you know. I mean, why would a Gen Z, as smart as you are, you don't know when Facebook was launched? But that's not my point, anyway.
Okay. No, my point is, knowing when Facebook was launched, how does that affect or change your life experience?
Like,
No, it's just.
It's like, what's the point of
What's
knowledge?
the point of knowledge? Like,
Knowing.
Thank you. And when you know, you cannot use it for like now he's want to make
Okay,
sense.
now that you know when
Do you get
Facebook,
to it?
now
It's
that you
like
know when
research that you can
Facebook
use
was
for
launched,
something.
when was Snapchat launched?
I don't know.
What's the point of knowledge?
I don't know.
Exactly.
It's not like I don't know.
I can throw
but
it
I'm
back
just
to
playing
you.
I'm just playing the Gen Z game with you, right? Because that's
Like
not
I
even
said,
the point.
outside,
That's
inside
not-
looking out.
Wait, that's not even the point I was trying to make. What I
Yeah.
was trying to say is I just wanted to clarify, like, feeling cool about
Knowing.
Gen Z's feeling cool about not using Facebook.
No.
or stuff
That was
like
just me just throwing like, okay, it wasn't so
All
serious.
right, let's move on to more serious stuff.
Okay. Okay. I like what here. So right about now, we're going to move on to like 3 different subcategories, because if we want to really talk about Gen Zs versus millennials, we can talk from now till tomorrow. So we want to like have a, like Gen Zs will always want to have like structure. You have structured conversations, not just throw words, like some people would do. So let's talk career. What do you think the differences between Gen Zs and millennials are as regards career, career choices, work ethic? What do you think about Gen Zs? And we'll tell you what we think about millennials.
I think that's one thing that they actually do well. I think that when it comes to making good career choices, I think Gen Zs are actually quite smart, because they always do what they want, and that's like a secret to a happy life. You can't just do what your mom tells you to do. I'm reading law, I'm reading medicine because my mom wants me. So a Gen Z, they might do it, but at the end of the day, they're going to become that content creator. They're going to become that blogger. They're going to become that. Whatever they want to do, they do it, and I think that's good. I also think that the fact that they can speak to authority is also a very good thing. I think millennials grow up with fear for their parents, and respect. And I think that really made them not be able to like speak to themselves.
Us.
Okay, yeah, sorry, us.
That's a romantic a little
But
bit.
sorry, I have to mention the zillennial thing. I think that I'm a little bit best of both worlds. I don't think I'm a Gen Z. I don't think I'm a millennial, because think of people in their 80s. I can't relate to some of the things that they went through, the things that they understand. And so, but people born in 2000s too, I've already experienced a little bit of the 90s. So I kind of find myself in the middle of those two generations. So my sister always tells me I'm very disrespectful to her, and I think that's one thing I take after the Gen Zs. Like, I would, if you annoy me, I'm going to say you annoy me.
I disagree with the notion that Gen Zs are disrespectful. I disagree. My argument is, as a Gen Z person and most other people in my age group, I feel like I don't feel anybody is ultimately deserving of respect. Like,
you have to prove it.
You have to prove your respect. You have to earn your respect. Because you're older than me doesn't mean I automatically respect you.
Yeah,
that's not what I believe. Your age is you and God's problem.
I feel like everybody
when you enter the world is your business.
That's so wrong.
Yeah, I think that everybody is deserving of respect.
No, it depends.
No.
But you're
ultimately,
older,
I use the word.
People respect.
No. You don't get my
it's
point.
reciprocal.
I said
ultimately
deserving. Where you feel like if you see me because you're older than me, I must cower in your presence.
I don't like that.
That's no
I
respect.
disagree.
I
That's
think
not
we have to define what respect is.
Yeah, that's how millennials define respect.
Yeah, that's not
that's
respect.
not how millennials.
Then who's to blame?
So respect.
So I let me quickly piggyback to what Timmy said about.
Piggyback. That's such a millennial thing to say.
Anyways,
We know so many
Piggyback.
so what Timmy said about millennials, I mean Gen Zs. Why do I keep saying millennials? Gen Zs making
You want to be also bad.
good career choices. I mean, we have to trace it back to what happened with millennials, because you cannot rule out the fact that there were so many events. There are so many mistakes that our parents have made, and over the years, people have realized that there are certain things that are not working, certain pattern of parenting that are not working. For instance, try to impose career choices on kids So over the years, people have learned that these things are not working. It's not because Gen Z just woke up and feel like we had that freedom. Of course, there are also certain things that came into place that gave them that leverage. For instance, technology. In the 2000s, you can't just wake up and say you want to be a content creator. Where's the platform you want to explore? But
fair point.
You know, growing up in a in a technology age, in an internet age, it gives you a lot of freedom to be whatever you want to be. And of course, with that shift in parenting pattern as well. So parents are more.
I like that.
Parents are also more open to let their kids do whatever they like, and I think that sort of give them an edge. But the part where you mentioned about them standing up to authority, I mean, I don't know how you put it. There's a fine line between standing up to authorities and I don't know, irresponsible behavior of insubordination at work. So that's also another topic or another trait that is very that's also another trait that is very that you can see among Gen Zs.
I disagree. I feel like in a workplace we are all equal unless you are my actual superior in work, like in the job that we're doing. If we both are we both work in a bank, you're older than me, I'm the younger one, but we are both cashiers. I'm so sorry, we're equals.
I'm not talking about age. Insubordination simply means
someone is
above you. That's what I'm saying. Like, that one is
respecting the hierarchy.
I don't think disrespect for hierarchy is a generational thing.
I think Gen Z.
If you are disrespectful, you are disrespectful.
Ask any boss,
I'm talking from
who
experience.
works with the Gen Z. They will tell you that Gen Z are they're very slack with work, and they speak.
I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree. The thing is,
if you're an outlier, it doesn't mean that the facts don't speak for themselves.
What facts? What are the numbers?
They are numbers. I swear. Google it.
It's not even about
Google it.
I've
very clear.
I've had Gen Zs on my team.
Yeah.
I've worked with millennials. And
What did the Gen Z do in your team that you feel like it's something that
commitment to work? So
okay.
So here's the thing. There is meeting your KPIs, and there is how you meet your KPIs. There is attitude to work, and there is doing the work itself. So one thing I can question about millennials is that they live in their own world to start with. They don't, most of them, don't let me generalize, at least for my own little experience, own experience with the Gen Zs that I've worked with, they really, conform to lay down rules, and they always want to do things their way, even though there are standard ways of doing things. That's one thing. And when you bring that kind of energy into a team, you create disruption. You disrupt the workflow.
So what I think is that because we live in a quote unquote capitalist mode of production, many a times work boss relationship is often oppressive. You understand? Millennials expect you to live for the job.
Very rigid.
Yes. And I am a very flexible person. Your standard of work, who decides that standard? Do you understand? This your attitude to work. Let's say, for example, I remember when I was interning, I was about 18 at that time. And this woman was like, a boss was a small company. And she was like, this is so things that must be done at this time. But all things being equal, these things can't be possibly done in that time frame. So what I used to do then was like, I would do what is humanly possible for me, and I will leave at exactly 4 p.m.
You're not even the typical Gen Z.
But I want to say
you understand? No. I'm driving somewhere. She got mad that once it's 3:50, I don't park. I'm just looking at the time. Once it clocks 4, I'm out. She was like, if I have the right attitude to work, I will make sure I fulfill my obligations before I leave. But no, I'm your staff from 9 to 4. So once it's 4, I'm Elvis, no longer staff. I carry my load and I leave. I'll piggyback the next day. You understand what I'm saying? So I feel like many a times the workplace, especially 9 to 5s, 8 to 4s, are often very oppressive, that the typical Gen Z who has experienced a life of freedom and self-expression wouldn't want to exist there.
I was going to say that one thing that millennials lack is an adequate work-life balance.
Yes, that's
for them, work is their life, and that's something Gen Zs don't have to understand. But I would say that it has worked for them.
Has it?
They are very successful. I feel like Gen Zs are more successful than their parents because they have a very good work ethic. can be
Millennials,
toxic.
right?
Yeah, millennials, sorry. If you work for the big four, no, they'll tell you how they don't have a life outside of work.
Yeah, they don't.
And they get paid quite, handsomely well. And even millennial content creators, they don't, and some Gen Zs, to be honest, they don't sleep. So they're always on the job, and they need to learn how to relax and say, okay, this is a 9 to 5 and I'm closing my laptop. But you hardly see a millennial who wants to close their laptop. They're always thinking of work. So that's just...
I just don't like the fact. I like that, yeah, but they tend to impose that on you. So you must do it as they're doing. And I don't want to do it. I want my free time. I have a life. If you don't have a life, that's okay. Move your way. But let me have a life.
But you can't say move your way if they're paying your salary.
I'm sorry,
That's
find
the
a balance.
problem.
No, you
No, but
move,
that's the thing.
One of
That's
us
the
will
problem.
move, oh.
See, yeah, like you said,
I know
standing
you
up
guys
to
will
authority.
quit.
Genuinely,
That's why I love Gen Z.
I say something
They will
here,
quit.
and people always say things. It comes from a place of irresponsibility. No job is worth my mental health. If you are robbing me of happiness, and my happiness is one of the most important things in my life.
Period.
If I feel stressed out in a job, and you are paying me well, I will leave. And there's one thing I say: work day.
But do you think that's
He
a
will
lack?
find me.
Do you think that's a lack of responsibility? Like,
It's not
if
a lack
you
of
have- if you have
responsibility.
2 children, do you think you'll do that? You just leave.
that's
I
actually
think-
laughing.
I think there's a
And
lack
I
of
feel like
responsibility
yes,
attached.
and
So-
and research actually proves, like, I have the numbers here if you want me to bring it out. Research actually proves that most Gen Zs tilt towards entrepreneurship because there is an air of freedom in being a sole proprietor of your business. So many people my age would most likely not even want to work for anybody because why are you telling me when to clock in and clock out?
You close the laptop at 3. Right?
If I want to, I would.
then you hardly. I mean,
You hardly break even.
do you get?
No, not
Because
necessarily.
as an
no.
entrepreneur, you are even
You are
meant
speaking
to
of
work
an
harder.
entrepreneur that is running a shaky business.
Even a
That is
shady
not my
business.
portion. Exactly. All right, so let's move
not
on
the
to because if we talk about career, we'll talk. What do we think
Yeah.
about just one sentence? What about millennials in the workplace?
No, I think I like the responsibility thing. Yeah, because millennials always think ahead. Especially when you have a family, they always like, oh, okay, I have kids, I can't leave this job even though it's stressing me out. I kind of like that, but at the same time, I feel like they need to balance that too. I feel like millennials are too, like I said, rigid. They're just too one-sided.
Yeah,
Shifts
shifts a
now.
little bit.
You get that's really
For me, I think millennials are so obsessed with career jobs, as opposed to me, like obsessed with wearing a suit and tie and sitting down and living from pay. No, there are facts that prove that. We find more millennials when they were
White
young
collar jobs.
want to be a lawyer, doctor, a professional,
Those are white
basically,
collar
because
jobs,
there is
though.
quote
But they're
unquote.
not obsessed with wearing a suit and tie.
I'm not.
Yeah, white
I'm
collar
not.
jobs.
Don't say white collar jobs. Don't say they want to wear suit and tie. There are different things. They don't like ties.
You see why I said rigid? There is no flexibility even in speech.
Because words have meaning. Please go on.
Again,
Alright.
our realities are different. you
Yeah,
know.
of course,
Like
definitely.
you said, millennials are, their options are limited in a way. I mean, if you're in your late 30s, there are some career choices that you cannot make compared to when you're in your mid 20s, for
Yeah, I
instance.
also disagree with that too. But if I feel like if everything you say I would disagree, so we'll keep talking. So let's
No,
move.
it's a valid point.
Yeah, like,
there are,
exactly, because-
there are some career choices you cannot make in your mid 30s.
If I am
You can change
40,
your life at any time.
if I am 40 right now with 2 kids,
Yeah.
and I feel oppressed in my job, and I feel like, oh damn, if I leave this job at least for 1 month, there won't be income in my household, I would actually still leave. Me,
But you need a plan.
yeah, exactly.
But
That's why I said
don't think-
we are
don't
outside
wake up
looking
one
for
day
her.
and-
I don't think you
I
would
will
leave.
plan-
I honestly don't think you just haven't been in that situation.
Let me
It's
tell
like,
you.
Like when you see, when
Let me
when-
tell you.
like when you say you will do something, but when you get there, when your wife is looking at you, your child is looking at you.
That's
you
why
now say, "I'm
that's why
going
my
to
job.
quit."
That's why my wife will have a job too.
And
Okay,
so that's a balance to it. So it's okay
Yeah.
for this period. Let's fall back on her.
Mommy, yeah, mommy, mom will pay your fees until daddy gets a
but
job.
to say that you just do it. If she, imagine there's no income coming, you guys just looking at each
Why
other
would there not
because
be
you're
income
tired.
coming?
No, but like sometimes that's the thing about being an adult. Life doesn't always work out the way we think
Fair.
it will. So if you think everything's going to be rosy and peachy,
No, it's not rosy. When people give, we'll keep falling back to this. Yeah, I feel like I would just never be found in a situation where I'm married to someone with no income.
what if she loses her job? Like this,
Yeah,
that's
that's an outlier,
in big
like
tech
you said.
now.
Exactly. That's something that no one plans for. Clearly,
Yeah.
I'm just saying I will most likely not be found in a situation like that.
Anyways, in summary, you cannot always get things your way.
Yeah, of course, definitely.
So,
Whether you're Gen Z, millennial, baby
or
boomer,
millennial.
or Bernard,
Yeah,
you
so
can't get things done
have
your
to
way.
compromise sometimes.
All right, let's move on to in terms of self-identity and expression. I'm gonna start. Gen Zs are gonna start. So I feel like millennials are very stifled. Many a times, I know it's not the case, but many a times millennials like to present life like it's black and white.
Yeah.
Either this or that. You understand? In terms of self-expression, millennials tend to keep a lot in. I've worked with a lot of millennials when I express myself, if you ask me what I feel about something, I'm going to give you undiluted, this is what Elvis thinks. But millennials tend to think about, if I say this, the consequences.
Unfiltered.
They give filtered opinions. But I see more Gen Z folks give more unfiltered opinions, express themselves the way they want to. Me, the term is utilitarianism, right? Live your life the way it best suits you. You understand? As long as you're not hurting anybody. You understand? That's the words I live by. You can do whatever you want to do. You, as you want. If you grow up now and say you want to identify as a dog, to me, that is your business.
Love that.
You understand? I don't care. But let somebody come outside tomorrow and says, identify as something. If you check the comments, people that are always trying to question that it's always millennials, baby boomers. Why would you decide to identify? And your identity is your own expression that doesn't hurt anybody. It not concern you.
Yeah.
But they make it their business. And millennials are always found chasing after the things that they claim to not like. You understand?
Like
I don't want to use the example so bad, but let's say Bobrisky, right? If you go to Bobrisky's comments, if you check people that are constantly insulting Bobrisky, they are in a certain age group, right? I'm a kind of person that if I don't agree,
there's no data to back that up.
There is.
But
Good. We go check them now. This is something I have checked.
Comments.
Based off people's looks, you can assume their age.
No,
To a good extent, yes.
Yes,
I get what you're saying, but
if white hair is going out of your head, you're not 21.
There's a larger conversation to
you.
that transcends generations, right? We are in an African setting.
Yeah.
Let's even do away with the fact
and millennials like to solely depend on the environment they grew in to have a worldview. Any small thing, as a cultural man, as somebody from Anambra, as an African man, our forefathers used to do.
So since we are talking about identity, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like another problem with your generation is that
Damn.
you have an identity
You
crisis.
point at me and say my generation.
Yeah.
You're threatening me on my show.
You guys have an identity crisis.
Okay,
We were
explain.
born in a generation that you are an African by birth, but you probably grew up
Western ideology.
with Western ideology, and there's a conflict between, the environment in which you grew up in and the culture in which you were exposed to growing up, and then you tend to live the reality of someone that is somewhere in the US in an African setting, and I think that is where that identity crisis comes in. As millennials, we are more in tune with our African culture, and you cannot fault us for it because that is how we were brought up. It's not like we were not also exposed to foreign culture, by the way. We were also exposed to foreign music, foreign movies. We consumed them, we adopted them, but we were not so immersed in it the way your generation is so immersed in it. And I think it goes back to parenting as well. Our parents also set some boundaries for us back then. There's some things, that some content you were not exposed to. But in this age, everything is free. At the touch of a button, you have access to it. So, like you said, there's really no filter. Parents can hardly track things. So, it makes everything muddled up in a way. And then millennials, Gen Zs now feel like I live in my world and nobody can question me, right? This is my identity. This is what I want to be identified as. Whereas there's a reality, you live in a society, and if you don't conform with the larger opinion or with the popular opinion in that society, you are always going to be viewed as an outcast, and that is where the identity crisis thing will come in. And again, if you look at it, some of the things that millennials want to take credit for, Gen Zs want to take credit for, like they pioneered it. No, they didn't pioneer it.
They did not.
Most of the things that Gen Zs want to take credit for, they are not really the pioneer of those things.
Okay.
If you look at cross-dressing, for instance, they are not the pioneer of cross-dressing.
Yeah.
There was the relay.
Didn't really.
Do you understand? We had Charlie Boy.
Charlie Boy.
Do you understand? So what is it? If you are talking about fashion, right? I don't know what fashion you want. I mean, fashion keeps evolving, by the way.
Yeah.
But there is no fashion that you want to do now that people did not do.
Thinking of Virgil Abloh, like
I mean,
the
virgin
LV
hair,
person.
tinting of hair, dreadlocks, name it.
Okay.
Do you understand? But there is, a certain limits to it with Gen Zs. And then as you grow up, you realize that, well, there's certain things that I don't want my children I don't want my children
To see me
do
do
so.
it, yeah.
And then you relax some of those things.
Like
There was a time
Rihanna.
I used to wear dreadlock. I saw when I entered uni because I didn't want to attract some people to myself. You understand? It's a decision I made by myself for a certain reason, and
Okay.
that is how it is. As your generation
Evolves.
evolves, you
You
realize
tone
some
down
of
the
these
crazy.
things as
And
you
when
tone
we
it
reach
down
there
a
now,
bit.
when we reach there.
Yeah.
So what I want to just say in response to that, like
Yeah.
the whole identity crisis thing. I feel like right now, the world is a global village. We're in the era of globalization, right? So, me as someone who has certain ideals that people would term as Western, right? It does not mean I am jettisoning my own African culture.
But there's sometimes that there's going to be a clash. They will not always
When
agree.
there is a clash, I would pick the one that is good.
Which is usually good.
Why is
Yeah,
that
let me
global?
explain.
Good to you.
Let me explain. Good to me, exactly. Good is relative. Let me explain. Culture in itself, the definition of culture, inherently culture is expected to be dynamic. It's expected to change over time. It's expected that you adopt, imbibe, get from here, and refurbish and grow with the times, right? What you are calling identity crisis is people growing with the times. It's not an identity crisis. Me, I am an Igbo boy. I speak the language. I understand the Omenala, right? But it does not mean that things that I will still be arguing stuff like, women's rights. Because as in African culture, women's rights isn't the most flamboyant thing.
I think
I'm going to. It isn't the most flamboyant thing. So if I want to be like, I'm the cultural man, I will stand on business on culture. Then I start silencing my sisters, my mom, my wife, my daughters. I start growing them differently. No. You imbibe what is good and add to what you already have. Then be the best version of yourself.
Being in
So
a
I don't
crisis
think it's
not a good or bad conversation.
No, you
That's
said it's
it.
cultural identity crisis.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I disagree with. I don't think it's identity crisis.
I think-
it's growing with times. And millennials are often rigid and would rather stay. Millennials feel like if it's not broken, don't fix it. Millennials like a worldview that benefits.
that's not millennials.
It is.
See, if you think of when did we start becoming a progressive society? It started from the 80s. If I feel like every generation thinks that.
No.
I would think that every generation.
That's false.
It-
but
no,
it's false.
You-
It's false.
I feel like
How?
every generation feels that like they are more progressive than the other.
Yes.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
they
Literally.
aren't, right? Because I'm sure even if I just want to back up. Even if you think of the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, my dad would tell you there were people who were going to clubs, who were wearing short skirts, who were drinking from Wednesday, who were smoking weed. So no,
That's not a Gen Z thing. You say it like it is.
So I'm just saying that. My point is that every generation has that period where because they're young.
Exuberant.
Yeah, they feel like, oh, we're the in thing, we're the best people, we're better than our fathers or our mothers. But the next Gen Alpha will come and they'll tell you guys are like backwards too. So it's not really, oh, we are more progressive than you guys are.
But I think we
But
actually are.
when it comes to like custom, I want to say that I do agree that it's not all customs that should be imbibed.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're cultural people, we're Africans, but I think we should still keep some of it.
Of course.
Because
no one is
don't see
taking anything
you
out.
don't see the Koreans, you don't see the Chinese people, you don't see other people just in that. You don't see the Americans or the Europeans just in their culture. So why should we just in ours, right? But I think that
I didn't say we should
the
just
court,
in
the
ours,
court
no.
always looks at is it repugnant to natural justice, equity,
Yes,
and a good
repugnant,
conscience,
yes.
right? So if good conscience, like if you say women cannot inherit, well, that doesn't make any sense, right? So, but if there are things that they are not repugnant to natural justice, conscience, and equity, then I think that we should keep it.
That's what I'm saying. That basically you just buttressed my point.
Yeah. So
You
if that's
understand?
your
What
point, then
what
we're
you
on the
what you
same
said is
page.
literally what I'm saying is that you take what is good. So let's just move on to another subcategory. Let's talk about navigating relationships. What do you think the differences exist? What do you think are the existing differences between Gen Zs and millennials as regards relationships?
Well, As a guy, I don't know. This is kind of
Okay, let me
tricky.
speak from a.
Maybe you will be able to.
I feel most Gen Zs here, you know, millennials tend to do this chastity thing, right? You know, for your base of religion, wait for your wedding night type
I
shit.
disagree.
No, that's not
100%.
millennial.
My argument. Can I say something?
Wow.
Can I say
Yeah.
something?
Yeah.
Can I say something? Can I say
Millennials.
something?
No.
You find more religious people in millennials
No.
than in Gen Zs.
No.
Let me continue.
I go to my church is full of Gen Zs. Almost all the churches in Lagos are full of Gen
Because
Zs.
you are going to youth church.
Well,
What's your church? What's your church name?
I'm not going to tell my church.
What's your church
I
name?
forced it out of my mouth.
Eh, maybe
My
you're going
point
to
is-
maybe you're going to harvest and you're telling me it's
No,
Gen
but
Z.
we're
Of course
in
you're-
an urban area.
but let's-
How many old people are here? So we are millennial or Gen Z
I mean,
in
you're
Lagos.
here.
I'm not old.
I'm joking.
But
I'm
anyway,
not
I think I agree
I'm
that
joking,
millennials
I'm
are
joking.
more religious than Gen Z.
Yes, millennials are a lot more rooted in
I would-
religion
I would
than Gen Zs
exactly
are.
agree.
Okay, well, of course, I don't have the numbers to back that up, but this is my own observation, things I have seen, right?
think I agree with that.
Chastity and sexual purity is from religion. So I see personally in amongst my group of friends and people I hang out with are like in my age group, sexual purity isn't so important.
I don't think it's important for millennials either.
I think it is, but they're hypocrites about it.
No, they're definitely not. As a millennial, I can tell you for a fact that
Or maybe you are
sexual purity is not important. Like if you start talking to a guy that is 35 or 32, he's going to mention sex.
But that's
in
a
like
guy now.
week.
For the females, though.
For the females too. I don't.
I
for
disagree,
myself
I
currently,
disagree,
Obviously, I have religious reasons. I have my own religious reasons, so I might be, in that category of those who believe in chastity. But my interaction with people, both male and female, that are millennials, has shown that they don't give a rat's ass. Like
Okay,
they don't.
fair point.
They don't care.
But what my own personal observation is that millennials are often found on the chastity grounds, on the let me wait for my
They are
wedding night
mistaking
type
us for our
shit.
parents.
As in wedding night. Which millennial have you met?
are mistaking us for our
that?
parents.
My own is that I know that Gen
Obviously,
Zs,
religious ones
I know that Gen Zs are more test the waters
Maybe there's a spectrum to it. You guys might be more
on the far.
adventurous.
Yeah,
Do you know
yes,
that
that's
there's a
where I'm
fact- do you
going.
know that there's a
Maybe it
fact
might
that
be
says
more
people are
adventurous with
actually
them.
having less sex now. Like younger people are having less sex now. The reason
Yeah.
why they gave was because people are still staying with their parents. They haven't really moved out. They're still in school. They haven't really explored. So people are actually having less sex than than the former times. And also because like dating scene is actually quite different. So I don't think that.
Oh, I feel like the
don't
dating
think-
pool in Gen Zs is tighter than the dating pool like in millennials.
What do you mean tighter?
Like when you say tighter like when you say tighter like that, when you say tighter like that, that's not what I mean.
Interesting.
Well, let me explain. Let's say
Your mind.
if
It's a millennial mind. Everyone is a millennial.
sour, right? So like
Yeah.
when I hear that the dating pool is tighter, like a lot of people have been with a lot of people like in the same group.
Saturated.
Yeah,
Fair.
you understand? Everybody has been around.
Everybody has, you
And
have
there
passed
isn't-
each other around.
The slut shaming isn't like millennials tend to slut shame the women a lot more, right? But amongst Gen Z, everybody's an asheo.
Yeah,
Really?
I get
But
that.
I
part.
do agree that you guys are shareholders, so
Yeah,
I
like
agreed on that.
I don't
one.
think you are more ashamed than millennials, anyways. So
I even feel weird
People hide
debating
their
who is
own-
more
they hide
asheo
their
than the
own
other.
ass.
Okay, what the
They
hell is
hide
this conversation? But yeah, let's reach a consensus on relationships. What do you think millennials view? One sentence, relationships.
I don't think there's much difference between millennials and Gen Zs in terms of relationships. And like I hinted earlier, it's just about millennials being more adventurous. I mean, they are
Millennials or Gen Zs?
Gen Z, sorry.
Yeah.
Gen Zs being more adventurous, and that's because they have more freedom growing up than millennials. For an average millennial, right? There are certain things. There are certain what do I call
Boundaries.
it? It's not even boundaries now. There are certain things that would hold you back from being as expressive sexually compared to someone
Who is younger?
who is younger. Like you are in your parents' house, you couldn't move
People
out.
still
and
do
you
things
didn't
in
go
your
school
parents'
to
house,
school,
so
like,
but-
you probably you didn't go to boarding school and
Yeah.
stuff like that. A lot of things you don't have enough freedom.
Mm.
Let me put it that way. But as a Gen Z, you have more freedom to go out anytime you feel like, you roll with friends, and then this gives you like
The leverage to do
opportunity
whatever you wanna do.
whatever you want to do.
But I want
So,
to add that I think the same way I spoke about work relationships, I think that's how they are in relationships. They don't have that staying power. They don't have that
they
perseverance.
have commitment issue.
Exactly. They don't. They think that
I agree.
they think that
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just supposed to.
I mean,
I'm just
there's no
supposed to
debate
go
around
on
that.
dates, and we're supposed to be happy all the time. Like you, why are you not making me happy? So you think that's what relationship is? It's about like being happy all the time, someone making you happy, having lots of pictures for Snapchat, making sure that you look cute. But that's not what relationship is. Sometimes they can get tough and hard, and they don't have that staying power to stay. Not saying that millennials still have a lot of staying power, because if you notice, if you look at the statistics, we have more divorce. Millennials are getting more divorce than our parents, because obviously it's easier
And
to
it's
get
going to
divorced
get
now.
worse with
It's going to
Gen
get
Z.
worse with Gen Z. So obviously as we progress,
Prophets of doom.
It's not. It's
As we
it's
progress-
a trend thing.
because there's less there's less
I feel like
stigma attached to
it may not happen with Gen Zs, because a lot of Gen Zs are not even getting married. So you need to get married to divorce in it.
No, I think Gen Zs will get. I think Gen Zs are getting married.
Gen Zs are actually getting
They
married.
get married.
I
They're
know.
getting married more than millennials. If you notice the trend, a lot of I don't know if you have.
I don't
like
even
a-
know where permitted the Gen Z are marrying.
I don't know if you have-
Because
I don't
in
know
my
if you
whole
have a-
university,
do you
my
have-
university class,
do you have a
nobody don't
university
marry. Oh.
class group?
Yes, nobody don't marry.
What
Oh.
did you go to school?
Unilag.
Unilag.
We never marry. Oh.
Like on the streets. If you're like Unizik and all that, you notice that most of the babes get married very, very
Who is
early.
marrying them? The men. Who is marrying the
They'll probably marry
Millennials.
millennial men. But I'm saying
Exactly.
that, a lot of Gen Zs are getting
millennials?
married.
Millennials like to come shop, for the goodies.
True,
But
true.
moving on. So, what do we think about
Relationship.
Gen Zs and millennials in relationships? Sorry.
I think for the most part, millennials are like they cheat, but they hide about it. They're like hiding cheaters. But I think Gen Zs
You
are
guys
much more.
cheat and then.
Yes, they're much more open about it. I think that's
You
why.
will cheat and you tell someone that you have cheated.
I don't understand. What do you mean?
Amazing.
What do you mean? I'm not open about it.
we're just-
Unapologetic.
Thank you.
You cheat
But
and you
millennials,
say,
people will be
babe,
saying,
I just cheated on
they'll be
you.
outside like insulting other people, saying, "Oh my god, you can't be cheating," but they are there doing their own in the corner. So it's like
I
they're
think
much
the
more.
millennials are hypocrites.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what she has been saying. I think that has been her business from the
what you
beginning.
just said. Millennials are hypocrites, and I agree. Actually, I think they are.
I agree with
I
that.
think they're hypocrites. Actually.
All right, we can't really exhaust the topic, so let's move on to trending topics. The Nigerian Labour Congress recently embarked on a strike action that affected several sectors of the economy, but the one that everybody was really pained the most about was the national grid that was shut down nationwide. And basically, the Nigerian Labour Congress is asking for a revised minimum wage, and it is like almost 500,000 naira. Do we think that it is an absurd claim from the Nigerian Labour Congress? Do you think it's like outlandish that they're asking for too much?
I'm going to say that they are trying to remedy a problem by exacerbating it, because once there's too much money in the economy, there's going to be massive inflation. If they start any 500k now, everything is just going to go up, right? I think that moving subsidy, the making education more expensive, and making electricity more expensive has made life unbearable for people. So I understand how their salaries are not sufficient. But if you think back, maybe like 10 years ago, it was not like it was the best, but at least they were surviving. Now they're suffering with that same salary because obviously the country has changed. So I feel like the government needs to go back on its policies, make life bearable for people, and increase the salary, increase the money, but obviously not to that amount. Maybe like make it 150 or 100k. But the economy needs to improve, because throwing more money at the situation won't solve it. We need to have better policies where, okay, there's food, there's light, there's water, there's petrol is cheap enough, and then then things get better.
I don't think they're asking for too much. I don't also believe in they're trying to burst out the situation by throwing money into it. That's what I think the case is, right? I feel like there are other countries that have higher minimum wages, and we that have lower minimum wage have a higher inflation rate than they do.
Fair.
You understand?
What I'm saying,
There are other
if inflation rate comes down, don't you think the money would have more value?
All right. So we have politicians earning exponentially higher than these people. So there are people actually earning ridiculous amounts of money.
But don't you think
already.
the solution to that is cut off that spending instead of saying let's
So that's-
match it?
No, that's not what they are saying, right? That's not what the Nigerian Labour Congress, that's not what they are saying. That, you should leave those people, the politicians earning ridiculous amounts of money, like you leave them and just let's say we will match the politicians. That's not what they are saying. Cut their own spending too. Cut down their own salaries as well. There was a table that was listed how much this budget for like things like food, things like car allowance that's always, it almost seems like, are you buying a new car every month?
It's ridiculous.
You understand? So I feel like the salaries that people are earning, 30,000 naira cannot buy you half bag of rice.
True.
If you buy five paints of pepper, your salary has finished. And mind you, there is someone earning that salary with a family. Cleaners in the civil service, people that are working in the lowest class are earning that 30k.
But
And
do
it's
you think that the
ridiculous.
solution is fixing the economy and not increasing expenditure? Because what will happen is once money goes up, because it's like,
I think you're assuming that the government cannot fund it.
I don't think,
No,
see, that's
that's
not
not
what
what
I'm
she's
saying.
saying.
I'm
So,
talking about
the
economy.
problem-
The government will pay, I'm not saying 500k, the government will pay a higher minimum wage and will still float successfully.
So now
I'm
let's
talking about economics.
let's
So the
that's what I'm
economics
talking
is-
about.
The more money in the economy, the more money that's in the economy,
We
the
are
more
already
inflation.
spending a lot of money.
But that's why I'm saying that the solution should be that reduce inflation, make food cheap.
So that
Make
30k will be sufficient.
No. See, and I remember I said that it should go up to like at least 150k. That's like a livable wage, right?
Is it?
But I'm saying that
It's
but
not.
But I'm saying that. See, imagine when you had 15 naira and you could buy so much with it. But now imagine that you now have to have 5,000 naira to buy that much. But that's what's going to happen the more money we have in our economy, because that's how economics works.
So my argument is, you're saying that if they increase minimum wage, it's going to be a lot of money in circulation, thereby leading to inflation.
Yes.
That's economics, right? That same economics, money is still running around in the economy, but it's just not touching the average
So
person.
I think there's a point
there is
we are
still
not-
a lot of my point, there is still a lot of money in circulation because we have inflation right now, don't
I
we?
think there's something we are not addressing.
Things can
here.
always get worse.
So here's the thing. Let me first of all air my anger with the NLC. I mean, next time you guys are going on strike, this is not the first time we'll be going on strike in this country. We've seen strike during Oshiomhole time. There were strikes, and nobody shut down the national grid, for God's sake. When you've claimed to be fighting for yourself or for your members or for Nigerians, you don't do that by inflicting pains on Nigeria. The national grid that was shut down for over 24 hours has its implications, economic implications.
Yeah, and I
know
think that's what they
people-
wanted.
And that to me, that's counterproductive, because
I
you
don't
cannot
think
claim
so.
to be fighting for the people and hurting them at the same time.
I disagree.
You can disagree, it's fine.
Yeah.
But my point is that there are losses that were recorded between Monday and Tuesday that can never be recovered. People actually died. There are people in the hospitals that needed lights. There are people that are doing business that may not be able to recover what they have lost. People in stock food business that need to keep the freezers on to preserve their food. So if they have to buy fuel to do all that, it eats into their money, it eats into their capital. Do you understand me? So I don't buy the idea of shutting down. I mean, you can shut down the airport, I don't know, but not the national grid. And this is the second time the NLC president will be doing this. There was a time he shut it down during Buhari's time, and I feel like the National Assembly should make a law to make it criminal, to make it treasonable for anyone to shut down the national grid whenever they feel aggrieved. That's point number one. Now let's address the main issue. That's, by the way, the national minimum wage. Just one big elephant in the room that we've not addressed, because we are assuming that it's only the government that's going to pay this money. No, there's a reason it's called the national minimum wage.
Yes,
It means
if
that
other people
it means that other
private,
companies-
yeah.
So how many private companies do you think can afford to pay 497k to a gate man? Because we are saying minimum, and the minimum means that the
500k and
least
above.
person, the least someone can earn in a company. I'm not saying a gate man should not earn that sort of amount, but how many companies do you think can afford that? So let's be realistic. It's not possible, and labor is not fixated on that amount they are proposing. It's negotiation. They are still negotiating, right? They started from 615k, they brought it down to 497k, and then to 494k. At the end of the day, the government will meet them halfway. But like Temi said, you don't solve a problem by only throwing money at it, because the more money you throw at it, the more inflation goes up, and that is how economic works. So what are we supposed to do here? Labour has one power that, in my own opinion, they've not really applied very well. You can shut down the
Which
economy.
is?
The industrial action. You can shut down the economy. So why don't you target it at other issues instead of just focusing on the national minimum wage, right? Because if you are focusing on the national minimum wage alone, it comes off as if you are only after your own welfare, right?
As opposed to what? Whose welfare?
you are fighting for the country. They are talking
Yes,
about the
now.
economy because at the end of
But the minimum wage doesn't. But the minimum wage doesn't
the minimum wage
affect
will not be
labor
able to
people
take you
only.
home if the larger economy is still in disarray, because they are affected by what is happening in the larger economy. They are not affected by what is happening in the
I
workforce.
have a question for you, Elvis. Would you prefer us to go back to when petrol was like maybe 1 liter
180
to
naira.
18 naira, and then you earn like what you still earn, or would you prefer to earn double what you earn but petrol doubles the price? Which you prefer?
We are being very, very Disney about this topic. Would you rather what is actually happening now? People's salary cannot chase after the goods that are available.
why
Wait,
it's
let me
important for the
land.
system to change.
And it is that change that they are trying to effect.
No,
wait, let me land. It is that same change that they are trying to effect by you are saying, would you rather for the government to effect an economic development plan that would affect people's lives, it will take a lot of time. Meanwhile, right now, as we are living today, people cannot eat.
Do you know what
now
happened in Zimbabwe?
with their salary?
Do you know what happened in Zimbabwe?
Yes.
They used millions to buy bread.
I
Is that
know.
what was the economy is going to
So
tank.
so what should happen? So
The
what should
government
happen?
I told you, bring back. Even though they say they were still paying, but let fuel go back to what it was. Let food inflation reduce. Open down the borders, reduce the import duties, and fix the economy. That's what matters. And then when the wage goes up, it will now make sense. But
So that's what I'm saying. This is very conditional, because when you do all these things, you know that you've been quoting economics since. You know that it's not abracadabra. It would not just drop.
It will.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't happen overnight, right?
Okay.
I
That's literally what I'm saying.
I understand where you are
Because
going.
if you keep doing, if the average man keeps making these concessions, keeps saying, oh, let's wait for the government to effect plans. We've been waiting since 1999.
But the issue
That's
is,
not the point of labor.
if you
Is that the point of labor?
if you increase,
Long suffering.
if you increase the
No,
minimum
I'm saying
wage,
the point of labor is to fight for the country to be good, right? That's the point of labor, not long.
And one of the problems that people are facing is that their salaries are not enough.
there will never be a time your salary will be enough.
fair.
But
you
it
understand?
can be fair.
It can be fair.
Exactly.
That's what I'm advocating for. I'm not saying.
And mind you,
I'm
all
not
this
saying-
inflation
I'm not
talk,
saying-
all
30K is
this,
okay.
I'm not
all
saying-
this inflation
nobody's
talk we're
saying
talking
30K.
about, there
30K
are
is
countries,
Not okay.
30K
there are
is
countries
ridiculous.
that have higher minimum wages by the hour and don't have ridiculous inflation.
What country is that?
America doesn't have. Nigeria's inflation rate and America's is
I
they're
know
not
that
siblings.
like if you have $5,
Yeah.
you can eat a meal.
Yes.
Can you eat a meal with 15 naira in Nigeria?
No.
That's the
Because
point.
the economy is bad.
That's why the economy needs to be fixed, and it's not by adding more
Before
money.
you get there, before you effect development plan, economic development plan, I feel like we are speaking idealistically. Let me explain. Because before you get good development plan, you need good leaders. But the reality of that we are seeing right now is that there is no hope.
Fair.
So at least let people earn good salaries. I am not saying that the gatesman should earn 500k. I understand the implications of these things, right? And that is why that amount is negotiable. Because if you want to start negotiations, it's good to start at 1 million. So they meet you in the middle and meet you at 500k. But if you start negotiations at 150, they will drop it down to 70k. And I will stand on business that even the 70k that I'm hearing is still too small.
The problem is not.
It's still too
The problem
small.
is not how much labor is demanding for. I think the problem here is what Amy has explained. If you set the minimum wage at 500k today, there are even other issues attached to it that we don't even delve into. Like, okay, let's even assume that the federal government can afford to pay 500k.
Which I know they can.
Okay, let's assume they can. States cannot. Some states, maybe Lagos, Kano, Port Harcourt, yeah.
The big
But
cities
Nasarawa
can.
State, Niger State, can Niger State
Kogi
afford to
State.
pay? They cannot afford to pay it.
I understand
It's not
that.
realistic. The private sector cannot afford to pay it, and I'm not sure labor is fixated on now around.
Yeah. That's why I said it's negotiation.
494k. So that is not even the issue now. The issue is labor has the power, and what Amy is saying is that labor should use that power to influence other things rather than just using it to ask for more money every time.
All right.
Because no matter how much money they give you, if inflation keeps growing up,
You
it
will still
keeps-
need more.
It keeps rubbishing the value of your money.
I understand that. You
That's
guys are not concerned. I'm not. That is I.
I get what you're saying.
I can see I can't do this.
You are saying we are already in a crisis that people cannot afford to eat. So give them more money now. That's what you're saying. Because all those economic.
No. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it is not a ridiculous request.
490. It's not ridiculous.
I don't think it's ridiculous.
All right, okay, let's just move on. Let's move on.
Personally, I don't think it's ridiculous.
All
I
right.
feel like people are suffering.
You know what will happen if
to effect a good development plan with the current leaders we have.
it's going to take
It's
time.
going to take a long time and may not happen in this timeline.
I agree.
You understand?
As long as
So give them 400.
My own is that elevate the human condition now, because this money that we are seeing is too much for the average man to earn.
No,
Wait.
I'm not saying it's too much.
Okay,
Don't
this
get me wrong.
amount of money that we are saying is ridiculous.
This is not ridiculous.
have-
It is not realistic. That's the
This
point.
money that we are saying is not realistic or
Yes.
choir. There are still politicians earning times 1 million of it and embezzling times 1 billion of it.
I agree with you, right? Right? But the point is, how many companies can afford to pay their gate man 494 or 79,000? I don't understand.
And two wrongs don't make a right. Our politicians are any ridiculous amount. Can't it, like, they need to slash that. Slash
You
to
know
the
that
lowest.
Labour is
Slash it
also
to the
asking for
lowest.
that too, right?
So that's so
They're
important.
They're asking for that
So
too.
do you get? So you cannot say, oh, if they're only that much. we
So
should
what
end like this.
you're saying is, politicians are earning they're taking a lot
They're
of money out
not
of the system. So let us
inverse
also
it. There's
take
no
our
causation
own
and
out.
correlation.
You see
to that.
now. I feel like when we play back,
Yeah.
when you watch the episode, you realize what I'm saying.
I understand everything you
So
said.
to round up,
Yeah.
what I'm saying still on the previous topic is that I don't mean that we should match the amount that politicians and the wealthy class are earning. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that they should defund these politicians.
Facts.
I agree.
You understand? And people should earn salaries that
Are livable.
match the economic conditions.
Yeah.
That's all I am saying.
But I agree with you.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on. Still on politics, actually. Popular celebrities like Eniola Badmus, Toye Abraham have been under serious bullying from Nigerians because of their political affiliations, right? A lot of people are not happy with the present administration, the Tinubu administration, and they've been going after every influential person that has had something to support in support of them when they were running for office. Do you think that they should be bullied for their political affiliations? Do you think that?
I think I just remember the Latin max message: "Vox populi, vox Deo." The voice of the people is the voice of God. If the people are not for,
Hallelujah.
if people are not for a particular, if everybody, like maybe 80% of people, do you get? So that is the popular wish, right? So if you don't support that, then you're not a liar. So I think it's just what happens when you go against what
The grain.
do you get? It's just like how we're talking about culture and everything. If something is what's known as normal and you do something that's abnormal, obviously they're going to make fun of you and say, oh, this is a weird person, why are you doing that? Obviously I think that I think everyone has the right to voice their opinion, but we can take it to an extreme in voicing our opinion. But I just think that they are just doing what no one else is doing.
Yeah. So what I think about it is that I'm not going to be one to say go bully somebody because they supported this particular party, or go praise somebody because they supported another party. Because first of all, I don't trust politicians holistically. You understand? So I'm not going to be the one to go and drop. But I believe that political decisions have consequences. Right? I'm not one to be like, oh, let's go drag somebody for what they did or what they said, or let's go praise somebody because of who they supported, or blah, blah, blah. But one thing I know is that if you make political decisions, expect consequences, right? Of course, I don't believe in the extremes like people were calling out, insulting Toyin Abraham's children,
That's so bad.
bringing her family into it. I do not agree. But you should just know that if you do anything as an influential person, there will be consequences, and she is currently facing the consequences of her actions. Whether she thinks that it's unfair or not, who's there to say it? Yeah, that's unfortunate for you, baby girl.
I actually don't support whatever that is happening.
Wait, are you pro APC or pro?
Where it doesn't, I'm pro decent behavior on social media.
As politically correct, political correctness, because
And it's fine.
Whatever, because-
And it's fine. There's no crime in being politically correct, right? So I mean, we should be civil in our conversations
Yeah.
online, and the internet has created these what should I call it? So
Access.
there is access, right? And of course, there is also I can't find the right word, but anyways, anybody can just come on social media and say whatever they like about you,
Yeah.
and then you don't have any power to like take it back or do anything to them. So
You
Oh,
have
no.
power.
She's
You have
DMing them on
power.
WhatsApp. Oh.
Wow.
no.
Yes,
No.
Hey, yeah.
So
Well, they have power. The Cybercrime Act now.
that's what I'm going, right?
It has always been there.
I mean, you cannot. There are certain things you can say and get away with. The Cybercrime Act may not be able to. They may not be able to owe you to anything with the Cybercrime Act. If you say someone is stupid, there's nothing in the Cybercrime Act that would.
The Cybercrime Act is one of the most loose legislation ever made.
I
Because
know,
it cites
but-
bullying.
Yeah, you
Bullying
if you
is
feel
part
if
of
you
it. So
feel bullied by I am stupid,
Do you
you
get?
have a
You can
case.
arrest the very.
When I read an
legislation.
article on it, I was like, this is
All right.
ridiculous.
Maybe it's a good place to start, but again,
Is
it
it?
goes back to the conversation. We should be decent in our
Yes.
conversation,
Dealings.
That's
in our
agree.
dealings on social media. That's just my own opinion about it. If someone, this is a democracy, nobody should be bullied for their opinion or for choosing a political party, right? Because there's no guarantee that your political party that you think should be in power would also.
Oh,
be
there's
better.
guarantee that my own
There's
political
no
party will be good.
There's no guarantee. I don't want us to go into the politics of it, right? But let's just address the main issue here:
Which is the
bullying on
bullying,
social
yeah,
media and victimizing people for their political choices.
No, I think with Toyi Ibrahim, because she said that Baba told her so many ideas. I don't even wait. Actually, let me even take back my statements because the person was not bullying her. The person said, Momo, you say that they told you ideas.
That's how they
Where are
told
the
you.
ideas? She now starts.
No, that's now how he ended.
But
He
this particular
the
case-
person said it will not be better for you, or something like that.
Yes, now.
If you don't tell
Would
us.
it, would it be better for you?
That person was obviously trolling.
But that's
The person-
malicious.
I mean, the person
It
was
is
not-
malicious, but I feel like when
malicious.
people hurt people,
people.
And it was when the people were
When
complaining that they
there
don't
was no
have light, they are sweating,
That's what
and you are telling me Baba gave you.
I understand the
his
frustration.
ideas.
I understand the frustration. Like, what did Baba tell you?
Yeah.
But I can bet you that
Baba did not tell her anything.
no, that person did not vote for Baba based on what Tony Ibrahim said, right? So the person was just out to troll or to be malicious. Do you understand what I'm saying? So in
You are giving
that-
Baba apologies though.
my point is there are people of lesser status than
Yeah.
Tony Abraham, I'm sorry, that have also faced this kind of treatment online, and that is what I'm trying to caution against.
Yeah,
we
I
should not be
understand. I'm just
attacking
joking.
each other
Yeah.
because of our political differences, because we are creating more division among ourselves
I agree.
when we are meant to be united against politicians. If in America there are people that are pro-Democrat for life, there are people that are pro-Republican for life, and they don't have this.
They have friction.
I'm not saying they don't have friction,
Okay.
but they don't.
People that shoot each other.
They are divisive.
I feel like America is like America, maybe the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, they are more.
Yeah.
America, they are very
There's
divisive.
peaceful, there's independent coexistence.
Sort of.
But in the Americas,
They're very divisive.
Yeah.
make America great again.
So don't bring that culture here.
Yeah, okay.
Basically. Let's keep it civil.
Let's
That's just my
live
own
together.
point.
It's
Let's-
not. It's
so-
not.
Yeah.
It's not us against each other. It's the
It's
politicians,
the politicians
against
again.
us.
So
Yeah.
I mean, it's
That's as I
the
said,
same
because
as
me
well.
generally politicians, I don't really care the shades. All right, guys, we've come to the end of another spectacular episode of Paul's Hot Takes. It's been a hot episode. I really liked
It was
that we're
hot.
able
It
to.
was hot takes.
Yeah, you understand? I love
Our takes
that.
were hot.
Yeah. All right, guys, we are available to stream on every streaming platform: Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere, audio and visual. Please subscribe, like, leave a nice comment. I would always be there in the comments to check if you're commenting nice things. Yeah. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Everybody say bye bye.
Bye bye. See you next year.